So, conditions are king in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. But what are the best conditions you can use in the system? That's what we're going to talk about today. Let's dive in. Let's start with one that is almost always used in every encounter, and that is flat-footed. Flat-footed is really simple. It's a -2 circumstance penalty to armor class. There are a ton of ways to get this condition. The stealth skill is only one way. You also have flanking, many rogue abilities, and even the grabbed condition and the prone condition. Those last two are especially effective because not only do they give the flat-footed condition, but they also force an enemy to either waste actions or limit their own options. Prone even comes with a penalty to attack rolls if they remain prone. In my opinion, this makes rogues much better than they were in Pathfinder 1e. Because in Pathfinder 1e, there were only really two ways you got your sneak attack. The stealth skill or flanking. But there are many more ways in 2nd edition. And keep in mind, this is a circumstance penalty, so it does stack with status penalties like the rest of the conditions on this list. However, it is hard for non-melee type spellcasters to get this condition. Marshals have a much easier time of getting this condition on enemies. With the exception of the frightened condition, the rest of the conditions on this list, you're probably going to need a spellcaster to get these on an enemy. The rest of the conditions on this list always come with a number. I'll explain what the number means on each of them. Next up is the condition that many people, including myself, think is the best debuff in the entire system. That being the slowed condition. The number attached to slowed is the number of actions that the target loses during each of its turns as long as it is slowed. This is extremely powerful, especially if you can get this condition on bosses. There are ways for marshals to get this condition, but you're more than likely better off using a spell, like the slow spell. The slow spell is especially effective because it doesn't even have the incapacitation trait. And if they crit fail on their saving throw, they're slowed 2 for a minute, basically taking them completely out of the fight. However, divine casters do not have access to this spell. Sorry, clerics and other divine casters. But if you're a spellcaster with any other list, you should definitely pick up the slow spell. At number 3, we've got the sickened condition. This one is pretty rare and with good reason. The number attached to sickened refers to the penalty that the target takes to all checks and DCs. More than likely, in order to get this condition, you're going to need a spell like Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain lets you do mental damage and possibly sicken a foe. However, there are a few ways to get the sickened condition besides spells. For example, if you happen to have the Flesh Warp Ancestry, you can take the Gaping Flesh Ancestry feat, allowing you to once per day, when an enemy hits you, to possibly sicken them. Also, while sickened, you cannot willingly ingest anything. And yes, this does include elixirs and potions. So if you're a character that has access to something that gives the sickened condition, definitely pick it up. Also, keep in mind that there's only 2 ways you're going to get rid of the sickened condition. One is to cast a spell on the target, which is where something like a cleric would come in clutch. But the only other way is to spend an action brushing on your turn. But all that does is give you a saving throw to end the condition. So yeah, you can take the action to try to get rid of it, but it might not even work. That's what makes sickened so rare and so powerful. Next we have the frightened condition. This one is extremely common and is a very good debuff. This is very similar to sickened, except that the condition goes down by 1 every turn. Unlike the sickened condition, where somebody actually has to take action in order to get rid of it. This is one that even marshals have access to thanks to the intimidation skill. The demoralize action allows anyone to get the frightened condition by using an intimidation check, even if they are untrained in intimidation. Granted, it's going to be a lot easier to get this if you are trained in intimidation, but you can go for it even if you're not. The fear spell is another way that you can get the frightened condition as well as spells like Mirror Malefactors. Mirror Malefactors is actually a great spell because not only does it frighten the opponent, but it keeps them frightened, one, for the duration of the spell. Meaning that as long as somebody is sustaining the spell, everyone can take advantage of that frightened condition. There are other abilities that do something similar to this as well, such as the Evil Champion's Aura of Despair, which keeps the enemy frightened as long as they are within 15 feet of you. There are other ways as well, but these are the best ones I could find. And the last one I'm going to cover in this video is actually very good against dex-based enemies. The number attached to the clumsy condition refers to the penalty that the target takes on all its dexterity-based checks and DCs. This includes armor class, reflex saves, and ranged attack rolls. Clumsy combined with the flat-footed condition is a very good combo, as clumsy would lower the armor class of the target even more than flat-footed would, since status penalties and circumstance penalties do stack. Of course, you could also do that with the frightened and sickened conditions, which is why those are better. Clumsy is a good one to pick up if you don't have access to the fear or malefactor spell and you don't really use intimidation. In some ways, clumsy is better than frightened simply because it doesn't go down every turn. It stays around. Alright, if you want me to do more videos like this on conditions, then leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Pathfinder 2e teamwork content. If you want Google Sheets for my teamwork builds, you can check out the link in the description below for my Patreon page. But if you want those Google Sheets, make sure you sign up for the Discord server, because that's where I put those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, teamwork is vital.